Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News. Champions has officially begun. 2 fantastic matches yesterday we are going to dive into, with the big news of the day being that Zellsis, after a brief stint on Sentinels, has been recalled to the Version1 team. More than likely confirming he will not be part of the Sentinels roster going into next season, but that really does depend on whether Version1 get a spot in franchising. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to discuss today. This is the beautiful stage here for Champions. You can actually see here, I believe, the compositions these teams were going with for Pearl. We'll talk about the match EDG versus PaperX and the other one here in just a couple of seconds. Firstly, though, this big news with regard to franchising, that apparently the academy teams are no longer required. This actually makes sense to me, and it does make me wonder whether this whole Ascension system, where teams like any tier 2 squad can actually qualify for the Partnership League by just winning the Ascension tournament every season, that goes on every season, that was actually more of an afterthought than an initial plan, because the rumor had it that all the rosters or all the organizations had to field a main roster, a female roster, and an academy roster. Now the issue is, to a certain degree, is that if you have an academy team that then qualifies to Ascension or whatever, or plays certain players, there can be conflicts of interest involved when there's 2 teams in the same kind of arena owned by the same ownership group. It can end up kind of badly. So apparently, that's no longer required, and therefore you might start to see a lot of organizations let go of their academy rosters if they have any. It can still be good to have one, but it's no longer a requirement because there could be conflicts. So it's not like you can't have one necessarily, but it's no longer a must, it seems. So I suppose we'll see how that one goes, but still a pretty big deal for the partnership side next year. This also to mention because, of course, we saw the rumors yesterday that London United were going to break apart from OG London United and go their separate ways, and OG esports was going to be the organization that went for the partnership spot next season. London United have said, despite recent speculation, our partnership with OG Valorant has not been terminated. Now, of course, look, they say this. Now, I think that probably, based on the rumors, there still might be talks in place. Because just because they say it's not been, I don't think the rumors said that it's been terminated. The rumors said it's going to be terminated, and OG Esports are going to be the team. So, I don't know, maybe they are going to stay as OG London United going forwards, but I would, not read too much into this, because, look, it's not been terminated, and then you could definitely see yet being written right after this. But maybe they write, and indeed it's staying exactly as it is. Let's dive then into this Zellsis stuff, because of course he's been really a crucial player to Sentinels the last couple of months or so, since joining their roster before the LCQ. I think was the key piece really that turned this team from looking pretty bad to actually looking competitive, right? And the 2 teams they lost to at the last chance qualifier were the 2 teams that made it to the grand finals of the event, like 100 Thieves and the Guard respectively, and they won a good match against Shopify Rebellion, for example. So yes, I think Zellsis was a key feature of why this team turned it around, and I thought, honestly, they would try and do their best to keep hold of him. Now, Version1 probably think the same thing. I guess whatever contract they had in place for the kind of loan arrangement they came to with Version1 for him to go to Sentinels, look, I'm sure Zellsis, if he got the choice, would want to probably stay on SEN because, understandably so, but they have effectively recalled him from this loan arrangement. Now, my understanding is that a large part of this is because Version1 are still planning, of course, to get into the Partnership League next season, and they want to ensure they have all the best players that they possibly can have on hand to come into their roster. So, of course, Zellsis Version1 is now back in business officially. He's no longer on Sentinels, and therefore Version1 have the call as to what they do with Zellsis going forward, which makes sense. It's contract stuff, but I think Zellsis is definitely going to be a miss for Sentinels, and that raises a big question as to what happens next year, because if Version1 don't get into partnership, right, and they don't get selected, then of course, there might be a good chance that they give him back to Sentinels or sell him back to Sentinels or whatever, if SEN really want him. But if they do get into partnership, then I'm sure Zellsis will be part of their plans going into next season, at which point SEN Zellsis is probably not going to be a thing again for the near future. So I'll share a brief clip here from Zellsis at the end of his kind of goodbye video saying, thanks for all the memories and stuff, but he's now Version1 Zellsis once again.
Hey guys, obviously if you're watching this video, you've made it to the end, and by now you know that I won't be continuing with Sentinels. It's been a wild month and a half, 2 months, and I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for all the support and accepting me into your fan base. We made a lot of content. We won a series. LCQ didn't go as promised or as we hoped, but it was fun. It was a great ride, and I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to you guys and to my own fans, and hopefully you guys keep supporting me on whatever team that I end up on, and I hope I can continue to make you guys laugh and continue to make you guys proud as a player. And I just wanted to say thank you, and 07.
So what does this now mean for the Sentinels roster going into next season? Because, of course, well, they've forced a change to some degree. I thought Zellsis was probably a key piece they would try and keep and build around. And obviously, Version1 thought the same thing and decided to recall him. So, look, there's still a chance, possibly, that Sentinels could get Zellsis again next year anyway. If Version1 don't get into the partnership side, they might be looking to, sell off maybe some of their top players. Then again, though, Version1, I'm not sure they've said this for sure, but I think maybe there was some indications from Xander that the Version1 was still eager to a certain extent to kind of go through the tier 2 side and try and qualify through having the best team rather than just getting qualified or getting chosen for partnership initially. They might not do, they might do. It depends how things go. But if they do decide to stick around in Valorant regardless, they probably will try and keep hold of Zellsis. Now, maybe Zellsis gets poached to a tier 1 team in the partnership side if they don't get through, but maybe they do. So anyway, the fact of the matter is, Sentinels can't guarantee themselves that Zellsis will be available, and therefore they've got to look at other options. What does this mean now for Shroud, dapr, Sick, TenZ, all these guys, ShahZaM? What happens there? Of course, they've got Tarek on their team now, who, well, maybe he's going to get involved as well, but, that's the thing. No one really knows now who's going to be on the Sentinels Valorant roster, because I would have said that Zellsis was pretty much a lock-in for that spot, and now he's no longer there. So now they've got to really think about which players they bring into that particular role. Of course, if Sick returns, that's a big win for them, but it's far from a guarantee. So, look, we saw what Sentinels said yesterday, that they've built the best content team this year in 2022. Next year, they want to build the best content team and the best franchising Valorant team in the world, which is probably going to require a fair few changes from the lineup that they presently have. Definitely tweet your thoughts and all that in the comment section below, what Sentinels should and maybe will do going forward. Let's dive into Champions, because this first series of Champions was absolutely spectacular. EDG versus PaperX. We got Pearl map 1 as well, and Pearl was honestly pretty damn good to watch. I really enjoyed it. It's a pretty map to look at. Whether it really plays the best is another question, but it was good to see it actually got played in this series, and these teams were willing to give it a go. Edward Gaming, man, these guys have some serious star players on their team. Look at this from Kankang, right? That shot was absolutely spectacular. A 5-0 quick advantage here for EDG. The PaperX have a pretty slow start too, but eventually they get back into the game. And look at this, honestly. This is why these guys play Pearl. Look at that from the Raze, right? Jumping over there with the ultimate, and then just firing this one over and taking down a free kill. That was just spectacular from Jing. And this is just one of the reasons why you love seeing a new map in the game, because you get stuff like that is kind of, I wasn't expecting that. And all of a sudden, Jing is the one to put it out. And PaperX, what a fantastic jersey they've got as well. They start to bring this game back. They eventually win, I believe. Was it 13-11 or was it overtime? It was one of the two. It was a really close game. I think it was 13-11. But then Edward, really came to play here on this game too. And this is where this team is going to be a serious force in the lower side of this bracket. PaperX are one of the big favourites for this entire tournament. And of course, they were expected to win this series. And EDG put up a massive fight. This clutch as well from nobody. There's no way he should have won this one, honestly. They kind of gifted it to him. Or, look, he just made a great play. Got to give credit to the guy who made the clutch happen. They dominate this game too here on the Icebox. It was at one point 11-4, I think it was. And then eventually EDG closed it out without too many issues. But then it goes to a Haven, where in the end, PaperX were relatively comfortable. They have a solid defensive side. They win a few offensive rounds. And they take the series. So yes, PaperX, as the series progressed, did kind of come alive a little bit more. You've got to give an awful lot of credit to Edward Gaming, man, because look, they didn't lose a single map in their qualifiers, and the maps they lost in this series were also very closely contested. So yeah, these guys are going to be a force to be reckoned with. PaperX were, as usual, very entertaining to watch. But yeah, honestly, these guys, and also the fact of the matter is they're playing with the sub. I'm pretty sure Smoggy was not their kind of ideal choice. He came in relatively last minute, and the slaying here was so even. So yeah, man, when Valorant is actually released in China properly, and these guys aren't just playing in the underground scene, it could be GG for the competition, right? Because these guys are already playing at this level. We'll see if they can get out of their group though, because they've got a big matchup coming up tomorrow, I think, or in the coming days. The other game was Leviathan Liquid. I feel like I said, I think in yesterday's video that Leviathan might be one of the more underrated teams, but I still thought the Liquids might have their number here. For some reason, they were considered an A team, which probably cursed them to at least some extent in this matchup. But Leviathan were just super solid, right? Game 1 was really close in the end. Both games went in a similar way, really, where Leviathan had a consistent advantage, and then it almost felt like they were always going to find a way to close it out in the end. Yampy, though, makes a crazy play, actually, to end up clutching up this round. That shot here, and then he finds the final kill as well to keep Liquid alive for the 1 versus 3. But in the end, Leviathan take game 1. They take game 2 as well, moving 1 round away. This is also 12-9 at this point here on the Ascent. So, I mean, yeah, Liquid, a solid team, but, I mean, yeah, well, of course, they've got Dimasic on their roster now, but Leviathan just a little bit too strong in this one, so massive result for them, and this was the reaction from the crowd in Argentina when they won that series to take Leviathan through to the decider game up against PaperX, which I believe is happening today. So it's all go at the Valorant Champions in Istanbul right now, and this was the final series. Scoreboard Leviathan 2-0 over Liquid. Like, I mean, yeah, Scream, Jampy, they tried their best, but yeah, King, all these guys, they came to play 13-10, 13-10 both maps. Pretty similar story, and they will now advance to play PaperX. So these were the top players of the day: King, Jing, Smoggy, Kang, of course, I believe is how you meant to pronounce it, and then Jampy as well, of course, from Liquid, but they end up losing the series, as did, in fairness, EDG guys. But wow, that was a close fought affair. So impressive day of action, no doubt. A very entertaining day 1 for the World Championship, and it only is going to get better because those were only 2 games yesterday, and today there's going to be 3. So shortly after this video goes live, there is, I believe, Zeta versus Loud coming up. My prediction, I mean, look, my predictions yesterday, I went 1 out of 2, so I guess it could be worse. But yes, OpTic versus Boom is the other game in Group B, and then it's the kind of decider game in the winner's side over in Group A to determine the first team that qualifies. So one of PaperX Leviathan, I think you've got to favour PaperX, but wow, I feel like Leviathan could put up a real good fight there. Going to be an entertaining series. Now, I mean, look, the interesting thing to me is that the elimination game here in this group is played in another couple of days' time on the 4th of September, and then I'm guessing the decider is played on the 5th or something. So if you lose this game, you have to wait like 4 days to play your next decider game. That's pretty incredible, actually. And the same thing for those guys over here. So a big delay if you lose a game between the time you play your next one, whereas if you win, you get to try and capitalize immediately. So I'll go with the favorites. I'll take OpTic, Loud, and PaperX, but you know, I think we've got some more entertaining series coming up today. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit a like button and tell us YouTube gods this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and hope grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I'll see you next time.